Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining me for this video where I just kind of show you my current makeup routine that I've been using a lot lately. I think it's very appropriate for those who are busy, who need a quick look, who like something that's overall pretty darn natural. This is kind of it, and it really centers around this one palette. And I was thinking about just using this palette and showing you a review purely on this, but then I thought, well, maybe it's more helpful to just show a full face makeup look and how this fits in as part of it. But no, not sponsored in any way in terms of Laura Geller. This palette is just something I bought on Ulta's website. It turned out to be fantastic. My videos are never sponsored, by the way, so you can hang your hat on that. But something I really wanted to point out was when I was shopping on Ulta's site and I saw this, the picture first caught my eye because I thought, is that the French Vanilla highlight? Because I love that highlight so much. But in the written description, it said that there were 3 different things happening here. It named different eyeshadows, a different highlight, and a different blush. But the photo showed Honey Sable, French Vanilla, and Honeysuckle in here, and that is actually what you get. So there's an error on the website in terms of the written description, but what's in the picture is what you get in this palette. It's called Get Ready and Go, and I think this is just an essential part of this look that I'm doing today. The eyeshadows are very easy, great for like a one shadow look with something just a little bit extra. I've raved about the French Vanilla highlight for years as being like the universal highlight that anyone of any skin type, any age can wear for added brightness on the skin. And then there's a great little blush in here. It's very bronzy and kind of warms up the whole skin tone. And I know it doesn't look that exciting. I mean, it's kind of a no frills palette, right? It doesn't have like a ton of cutesy stuff going on. It's not huge, you know, it's just a very streamlined little thing. But in terms of products that you will use, or products that I see myself using over and over again, it's extremely handy. So I just was excited to show you how that worked into my full face look in this video. And in terms of just the way I'm pulling off even getting makeup done at all, when sometimes it's happening at different times of day or different places in the house, I have found this little caddy. I picked this up at Walmart. It's by Caboodles. I think I'm gonna go more in depth about that in a future video. But that is so nice, even beyond just what regular makeup bags give you, in terms of keeping some things together, and I can just grab things out, see exactly what's in there. But then when I come back here to the makeup room and I just sit it on my desk, like everything is totally visible, so I don't feel the need to like undo it, totally unpack the bag when I'm back in here, whatever. It just can kind of float around wherever I am. So more on that particular item to come, but meanwhile, here's this tutorial. And by the way, I'm sorry, I haven't switched out my whole background here. Think of it as just a winter theme, okay? All right, it feels funny sitting down here to do an actual tutorial again. It's been a while since I've done just sitting down and talking you through stuff like this, but I'm excited to share with you just this whole routine that I find myself doing a lot because it's quick, it's simple, but I feel very finished when I'm done with it. I feel like more like myself after wearing this makeup than not wearing it. So the first thing I put on, and I know I reach for this a lot, I talk about this product a lot, but I do think it's a great multitasker, and it's the IT Cosmetics CC Cream, SPF 50. I have it in the shade medium, and I just love the coverage I get out of this, and I also find that, you know, it can double as my moisturizer. It really does add some hydration to my skin. So I dab it all over. I can blend it in with my fingers. I can do a brush, or, you know, this is my NYX blender sponge here, and I really like blending it in with that also. So I just tap that in all over. And if you missed my video about the wedge-shaped sponges and the comparison, this NYX one was in there. It does have a flat side, and I'm loving this one for being just the one sponge that can do it all. You know, it can very effectively blend in foundation, but as you'll see in a second here, it does my concealer too. For my concealer, I have been so enjoying this new one from NARS. It's the Soft Matte Complete Concealer, and I have it in the shade 2.75 Cannelle. And it's just a really, really perfect shade. And yeah, it's definitely in my rotation. I love my Anastasia concealer. I feel like this maybe isn't quite as like emollient as that. but the coverage is really good, and yeah, it just works nicely under the eyes or anywhere around my face. And if anybody else has used this, I swear I feel like a little bit of a cooling sensation when I put this on. Every time I've used it, I've thought about that. It's when I just first dab it on my skin. So I'd be curious to know if anybody else has felt that. But I just get a little bit around my nose and on the under eye area. And then I put my finger on the flat side of the sponge and I allow this curved side to be what blends in my concealer. And concealer is huge these days when, you know, you're not getting quite enough sleep. The concealer has got to deliver. I feel like this does a pretty good job. Now, after these couple of products, I don't really feel like my face is in dire need of being set big time all over with powder. I like to use this Too Faced Primed and Poreless powder because it's just very light and it does sort of, I don't know, perfect the skin a little bit. It sort of blurs little lines and maybe texture issues that you might have. So I do like to apply that lightly on my T-zone. And I'm just using this little e.l.f. small tapered brush. Then we get into my little Get Ready and Go palette from Laura Geller. This is just such a little lifesaver. So basic, but everything in here is totally working. And the blush that's in here is called Honeysuckle. And as you can see, it's kind of warm. There's some bronziness to it, but there's also a little bit of pink mixed in as well. And so I dab into that with a blush brush and I just wear this as my blush, and there's a peachiness that kind of comes out in it that's sort of a, like I said, bronzy tone as well. And I always say this, but there's nothing like blush to really bring your face to life. You know, I might still have a little bit of an under eye circle, or I might have, you know, this or that issue, but blush, it's like you can't argue with a good blush. So I pop that on, then I go back to the small tapered brush, and I've got this French Vanilla highlight, which I have talked about for years as being a really great highlight that just has the teeniest bit of glow, but it also has a little coverage. It's very brightening. It's great for those who don't want to attract attention to lines or you know, texture problems, imperfections right up here in this zone. So I love just applying this product right there. And when I do the eyeshadow, it kind of acts as an additional eyeshadow as well, which I like. But you can just dab it on anywhere where you want a little more brightness. And then with face makeup done, I'm going to do a little bit of my NYX Dewy Finish Setting Mist. I feel like the blush was a little bit glowy, but overall there's a lot of just matte happening on my skin right now, so I think the setting mist helps. Then I'm giving myself a very quick brow. I've got this Goof Proof brow pencil from Benefit. I've been bouncing around to a lot of different brow products, but this I have in the shade 4. And this is the brow pencil that they're offering these days that has a little more thickness to it. So sometimes I feel like that is a little bit quicker approach, you know, when you're not using the finest pencil ever. Then I use a little bit of my NYX tinted brow mascara. This is in the shade Black, although it's not really black. It's like just a very dark, cool brown. And I like the way this holds, and sometimes, like if I'm in an extra big hurry, this and this alone will work fine in my brows just as is. Then I just grab a little Milani eyeshadow primer. And this is just a go-to in any circumstance, whether it's quick makeup or not. I just love this primer in particular. And it only takes a bit. I concentrate it first on my lids and then pull it up through the crease and up under my eyebrows. And then back to the Laura Geller palette, you got this little eyeshadow duo here in Honey and Sable. And there are, you know, several ways I've used this, but one way that I think I like it best is this pretty sable color all over my lid, up into the crease, and also, you know, kind of under the lower lash line, sort of like a one shadow look, but then I blend a little bit of the honey around the outer edge and throw on some of the French Vanilla as the highlight, and you're done. And you could also pull in Honeysuckle as well if you wanted to use that for a little bit of a warm, you know, eyeshadow twist. But if you're not familiar with my take on a one shadow look, this is kind of what you're going to see here in this video. So take a flat brush and we're going to pat that shade all over the eyelid. And there's just this pretty, really metallic fun quality to this shade. But it's not so metallic that it's unwearable. Even people who don't love a ton of shimmer, I don't think would be too turned off by this type of shade. Then I go into that same color with a crease brush, like with my Sigma E25 or whatever crease brush you like to use. And I start blending that color just up into my crease, working it in from the inner corner to the outer corner of my crease. And then you get this just surprising amount of pretty depth going on there. But you've just used the one shade. Then I'm going to stick with that same color, and I'm using a pencil brush, and I'm going to take it under the eye as well. And this is going to just give the softest definition. If you wanted a little bit more defined look, you could use like a smudge brush or an angled liner brush for this. But I kind of like the softness of this shade just sort of wrapping around the eye. Then I go to this honey color, and I've just continued to use this E25 brush, and I go sort of just above where the crease is. And you use that kind of as a warmer transition-y type color. Just the easiest eye look ever. Then just grab a fluffy brush, go into the French Vanilla highlight, and that can be what you place closest to your brow. And as you use that color, it can sort of blend out the edge of your eyeshadow. Then a step that might seem like, you know, well, is that really essential? But I do think it's important, especially if you're feeling really tired or you think you look really tired, is a nude liner in the lower inner rim. And this is just my Estee Edit in Bold Bordeaux, and the one side is a really super soft nude liner, and I like that a lot. And then some days I do eyeliner. Honestly, for my quickest look, I would skip it. If I really was trying to get out the door or I had something to do, I feel like I can get just as good of a look, just as effective of a makeup look without the liner sometimes. Now, if I was doing false lashes, I would definitely not skip the liner because I want that nice black base to set the lashes down on. But if I'm just doing mascara, frankly, I feel like my lashes stand out more when I don't have that liner and there's just some lightness there on the lid, and that can kind of act as a backdrop for the lashes, if that makes sense. And I happen to have my CoverGirl Supersizer handy, so that's what I'm going to throw on here. Really been alternating this mascara with my IT Cosmetics Superhero. Basically, if it's got super in the name, it might be a mascara I'm using. But the nice thing about both this one and the IT Cosmetics is I can apply them on my lower lashes and not be worried about it like transferring off onto my lower lash line or below the eye somewhere. They're both pretty reliable mascaras for me in that respect. For the lips, I think you should really do whatever the heck you want. If you want to do a bold lip, honestly, it does not take that much effort, you know, beyond what maybe a natural or nude lip might require of you. You know what I mean? I think sometimes people lay their eyes on a makeup look that involves a bold lip and you automatically think that that person's more done up. But honestly, you know, it doesn't take that much more work. So if you want to go bold, go bold. For me, my lips are kind of extra dry right now, and I am sort of going for comfort with this look. So one thing that I do like to reach for is this Benebalm from Benefit. It has the best little rosy scent. I really love that, and it just gives a pretty like reddish tint to my lips. There's kind of a glossy finish and like a little bit of thickness, and I don't know, something about it feels really, really comfortable and very nourishing. Now for the finished look, I do feel like my skin is more even than it was before. My eyes feel a little bit more awake, and I've got something on the lips as well. So it's certainly a look that I would feel comfortable doing just about anything in, but it didn't take me a long time, and it's just easy products to throw on, whether I'm sitting here in the makeup room in full great lighting, or if I'm, you know, downstairs, wherever, you know, just using a little daylight out out the window. Whatever the circumstance may be, I feel like it's just an easy look to pull off. And this palette certainly is a nice little game changer. It's very compact. Everything in here really serves a purpose, from the blush, the highlight, the eyeshadow, and I can definitely vouch for the fact that these Laura Geller products last a really long time, even in these smaller sizes. Like, I have certain things that are this size, and the domed up nature of these products just really allows you to get a lot of use out of them, and I just think this is super wearable for pretty much anybody. So thank you so much for taking time to watch, guys. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you soon. Bye.